to make dinner. Was gonna work out today, but I don't feel very good. Got a really weird, kind of a weird headache. So I took some naproxen, and it's kind of helping, and it's kind of not. I don't. It's weird. Anyway, I don't think there's anything to worry about. So we'll just whatever. Anyway, talk about D23. Okay, really, it's kind of, you know, we had some interesting stuff come out about, hi, just some other guy, Skeleton Crew, wanted to say that the picture in one of my previous videos of Jude Law in that green armor, that is from Marvel. It is not another picture from Skeleton Crew. And I have a feeling that this is a sort of updating on a character named Garrus Shrike, if you remember him from the A.C. Crispin Han Solo origin story novels. Han spent his childhood and part of his teenage years in indentured servitude to this guy. And he was a scam artist, a pirate, a criminal who ran scams in and around Corellia from a ship. And I think you're right. I do. I really, really do. And Shrike was he was abusive. He was just a bad dude. And this Skeleton Crew story has hints of that. Okay. And I'm like, I'm like going, this is very interesting to me. Okay. So we could be getting an updated version of that. The reason why I say updated is it's because this story takes place between Return of the Jedi and, since I don't consider Episode 7 canon, we won't even talk about it. And it's going to be very interesting as we go along to see where this goes. I've heard mixed ideas on it. There's a rumor running around that there's a non-binary kid in the show, and I'm like, I don't think so. It just doesn't seem like Favreau would allow that. And we've heard some interesting rumors coming out about Kevin Feige's weird relationship with Bob Chapek, and the fact that his son, Brian Chapek, is part of Feige's crew, which, you could sit there and say, hey, this doesn't, but let me just say, it now makes more sense, in my opinion, as to why a lot of this stuff is happening. What else? It's got Skeleton Crew. Ahsoka, we knew it's being filmed. And Skeleton Crew, by the way, is being filmed right now on Manhattan Beach at the studio there. I think they have a volume stage there. I'm not sure. Ahsoka, of course, is still being filmed. Mandalorian 3, we got a trailer. And it looks good. It really, really looks good. Now, why did we see Babu Frick? Or one of those, whatever they were. Cameron has a theory that they're not going to start phasing out the ST until Kennedy's gone. Okay? And she knows it. Or she knows it. And, when you see that going on, and then I'm going to tell you, I'm going to get to this. This is a big freaking deal right here. I'm going to tell you. But there's lots of stuff going on behind the scenes. Like, if you noticed, one of Cameron's Disney insiders basically said that Kennedy was irrelevant. Now, another friend of mine who was there also said she had more confidence. But I noticed something from what little I was able to watch, that she was very subdued. She wasn't scared. She wasn't awkward, but she was subdued. The only time I saw her step on somebody, and when I say step on somebody, it's like if you're talking and then someone interrupts you, all right, that's stepping on people, all right? You let people finish what they're saying before you say anything, okay? Again, we have a problem in the world. People don't listen to understand. They listen to respond, okay? And, you know, I hate that shit. I really, really do. I do think he does. And all right, do you guys remember me kind of wondering out loud about Chapek being booed? And I mentioned the fact that he walked out with Rey and Chewbacca. Now look, he could have walked out with Vader. He could have walked out with Boba Fett. He should have walked out with the Mandalorian. He could have walked out with Luke Skywalker. He could have walked out with Indiana Jones. He could have walked out with, you know, Doctor Strange, anybody but Rey. And there's supposed to be, he got booed apparently. I'm wondering when he walked out for the Legends panel if he didn't walk out with them. And if so, maybe people were booing Rey instead of Bob. Okay, got to think about that. I want you to think about that. Because I was like, you know, it just, now, would he be booed? I could imagine SJWs with, you know, nose rings and those things that, you know, hang down out of their nostrils. Hair color not found naturally on a human head, booing. But if you walked out with Rey, it makes more sense that they booed, in my opinion. Just some other guy, you're starting to give me a headache, and I have a headache right now. She'll leave because she was told to leave. Do you go? Can I ask you a question? Do you go to Drunk 3PO or Ryan Cannell? Do you go to RK Outpost? But anyway, so if he was booed walking out with them, could have been very easily people like us going, "Get her off the stage, boo!" So we've got that. So the Star Wars stuff, let's see. Okay, why are you asking me that? Why do you need me to make sense of that? You've been told. I can't explain it to you any better than I have. She's only there as long, and this was the deal she made when she first started working for Disney at Lucasfilm, that she would at least get Indiana Jones 5. Okay? And my God, Indiana Jones 5 is happening. It's in the editing suite. Okay? We had a big panel 2 days ago. Harrison Ford and James Mangold yipping and yapping. She's already had Star Wars taken away from her. In the Atlantic Journal, the Atlantic Monthly, they basically said Jon Favreau is the future of Star Wars, not Kathleen Kennedy. And I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you know this, but Jon Favreau was the one that introduced a new attraction in the Star Wars in Galaxy's Edge. And do you know what that attraction is? The Mandalorian. Din Djarin and Grogu are going to be wandering around meeting crowds. Okay. The fade out of the sequel trilogy is happening. It's not going to happen as fast as we all want it to. Like, David Zaslav, if David Zaslav had bought Disney instead of WB, Kennedy would be gone. Kevin Feige would be gone. Or Kevin Feige would be there, but he'd be told under no uncertain terms after Zaslav looked at the books, don't fuck around anymore. Okay? And if you don't want to be here, if your mojo's not in it anymore, I'll find somebody else. Okay? But Disney is a different place. Okay? And Kennedy, she's done. And you can tell she's done. I mean, I don't like having to explain things over and over again. I'll go Miranda Priestley on people. I said it once. I'm not going to say it again. And I find myself doing it anyway. I should have a big box of Crayolas and a thing behind me to explain what's going on. It's not going to happen overnight. And I would love it if it happened overnight. But when you've got Matt Bellamy basically saying Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni now also have the movies. They not only have all of streaming, they have the movies. When you've got her going on a 40-day vacation. And I know that is lost on a lot of people. The British call that a gardening vacation. It is basically, it looks to me like she was saving accrued days and said, fuck this pop stand, I'm leaving. All right. Probably been planned. But 40 days, all right, let's see if I remember. Portugal, Ibiza, Spain, Mallorca, back to Spain, Provence to try out the new rosés, and then to London, and then to Cornwall. Hence why I call her the Duchess of Cornwall. Why? Look, Kevin Feige can't do that. Okay? He can't. He can't. And, but she could. You've got Peter Rice getting fired, which shows that Chapek doesn't give a shit, okay, what people think anymore, all right? You've got HR and another part of Disney slowly but surely changing, people getting fired, etc. Policies are going to start shifting, okay? But I don't think that has anything to do with Lucasfilm. I think when the new person comes in, and I think I know who it is, I think that he will be like, okay, this is all changing. All right. We have a problem with personnel at Lucasfilm. And it's like that across Hollywood. I did a video on fan baiting. And what's her name? Tala Siren, it's probably a fake name, did a series of tweets about it, to where it has become a marketing gimmick in some circumstances. To me, it has become a way for them to hide behind failures. Hide failures. They didn't like it because this actor's black. And, they can also go to the guy that, they can also go to Jeff Bezos. They can go to, old school Bob Iger, Kathleen Kennedy, and say they didn't like it because Admiral Holdo is non-binary. And let me explain. Back in 2018, I didn't know what the fuck non-binary was. I'm still not sure, okay? She's a lesbian and they don't like her. I mean, no. First off, well, I don't think Disney HR necessarily really has anything to do with Lucasfilm. I look at it as like that, like a separate division. And Kennedy, when George sold it off, a lot of really good employees got the axe. Okay. And Kennedy brought in all of her own people. And all of her own people are the ones that are causing all this trouble. Okay. And that is the problem. All right. And I'm like, when I think about it, and it's going to take a new head of Lucasfilm working in tandem with Dave Filoni and Mohsen Gupta. I don't think JPEG has to worry with Lucasfilm. I think that, again, you're not listening. I don't think Lucasfilm is part of that part of Disney. Okay? Disney pays their paychecks and stuff, but I don't think it's quite the same. Okay? Maybe I'm wrong. But when whoever takes over, Jon Favreau, he can hire and fire anybody he wants. Okay? You may see some names we don't like staying, but they were probably dragged into the boss's office, told, shut the fuck up on Twitter. Just shut the fuck up, period. And I'll tell you something else. We're getting very close to Twitter's lawsuit trial with Elon Musk. Now, they're probably in discovery right now. Okay, they're doing all that. And I think when this is all over and Twitter's not worth even close to what he was going to pay for it, I think you're going to see a lot of people from Lucasfilm either leave Twitter or be denuded of followers. Okay? Because, look, let me explain something. If you're watching Twitter and you see Make Solo 2 happen, trend, that's not real. Those aren't real people. Those are bots being used by somebody. You see Raylo trend, those are bots. And you want to know what? Those were bots back in 2017 and 2018. Okay? Those were bots. That's how they were able to get people suspended from Twitter and all kinds of other things. So, you're going to see a lot of that change. You're going to see fan baiting just go away. And the reason why I say that is because look, I'm going to ask you a question. When TLJ came out, and we all realized what a jackass movie it was, and we weren't going to be fooled again like we were with TFA, and we went to the mattresses. People began YouTube channels because of how bad it was, and roared to life. Okay? The baiting of the fans. Okay, Ryan Johnson with his Your Snoke Theory Sucks sticker. Pablo Hidalgo following him with it. Ryan Johnson, after the movie was released, calling people man babies. Getting fucking Freddie Prinze Jr. involved, that coked out weirdo. And, just all of that shit. And if you ever want to laugh, Freddie Prinze Jr., watch that video where he's like freaking out about Dave Filoni and what he taught him. I'm looking at it going, first off, the guy has absolutely no idea why people hate the sequel trilogy. He's just hating on them because, he was told they're racist, sexist, bigots, and homophobes, and that is a strategy being used by Ryan Johnson, by Pablo Hidalgo, by others at Lucasfilm to defend their failure and to hide behind it. Hide behind the name calling. Okay? And it's a cynical strategy on their part. I don't think they realize that it's kind of they realize that it's a marketing strategy that didn't work in the first place. Paul Feig did that with Ghostbusters 2016, and now he was told under no certain circumstances is he ever allowed back on the Sony film lot. All right, Dan Aykroyd said that. Okay, Dan Aykroyd told him, you have to change things in this movie. Feig basically told Ray Stantz to fuck himself. Okay, let me put it this way. Dan Aykroyd might be a lot of things, but he knows Ghostbusters, and he knows what the fans want. And I don't, look, there are leftists in Hollywood, and he's an old school, whatever, hippie from Canada. They don't bother me as much. Okay? The ones that bother me are the ones like Pablo, are the ones that like Rob Reiner, who is a very self-righteous asshole, whom I personally know a lot about. And he was a freaking predator back in the day. Okay? I called him out for it on Twitter too. And I got some information from a friend of mine, and when I read it, I was like, basically what Reiner would do is that I think it was Let's Make a Deal was filming nearby. You see teenagers lined up, hoping they would get in and able to be part of the show. And he would see a girl, he'd ask her, oh, you want to come over to my trailer? And he'd get her stoned, and then you know what would happen. Okay. There you go. All right, that's not a good guy. He's a predator. And I know somebody like that in my hometown. He's married to my sister, and he's exactly like this. They're all the same. They scream rights for women, and then they treat women like shit. All right, and so that bothers me. But guys like Dan Aykroyd, who's just a goofball, I love that guy. I think he's hilarious. I think he's a great performer and a wonderful filmmaker. And he saw what was going to happen if they kept going the way they were going. Feig kept doing what he was doing, and Feig did the same thing that Ryan Johnson did. And Ryan Johnson basically told Mark Hamill, we're going to make the movie we want to make. And that's the problem. They didn't make movies for the fans. Okay? They made movies for themselves and their buddies. And then they wonder why people hated it. Okay? It's a very narcissistic streak in these people. But the fan baiting started then. And when I saw it happening before TLJ came out. I remember Pablo Hidalgo attacking fans in 2016 and 2017 on Twitter. Remember seeing that going, God, what an asshole. I mean, when your first impression of someone is dickhead, he's got a problem. Okay. And I found out some more things about him that after the EU was thrown into the Legends box, that he basically bullied fans and tortured people with it. I was told that one fan tried to kill himself over it, which is like, dude, over this, you gotta be kidding me. But that's how bad Pablo was. And, so this fan bashing, now that's bashing. That's bullying. Okay. But after TLJ came out, it became, wrapped themselves up with the Paul Feig fan baiting shit and went full tilt boogie into it. You know, from what I've heard, Kathleen Kennedy's terrified of us. You know why? Do you think Harrison Ford is? No. Mark Hamill? No. Now why is she afraid of us? Because of what she allowed to have happen. Okay? And she knows it. That's why she's afraid. She doesn't want to face us. She doesn't want to face us. She hates, look, she hates us because we call her out. We called her out because she's a failure. Okay? Now, after TLJ came out and they were doing this, and of course, she was allowing it to happen. And then Soilo came out, which the fans just went like this to them. Okay. You know, it obviously was a failure. This is not a strategy that works. Okay. So Kenobi comes out. And like what? Like a month before? Moses Ingram says she got racist tweets from fans. And was told by somebody at Lucasfilm, Pablo, that the fans are racists. Now, if you go on Twitter and see Tala Siren's Twitter thread on this, she brought that up and she said that there are fans that are racists. I'm like going, no, they're not racists. I want proof. I want proof that this fan, think of somebody, sent this racist tweet or Instagram message to Moses Ingram. I want to see who it is. Okay. And the reason why I say this is it's almost like they set fire to it before it came out. And I have to say, it is too bad because Kenobi was a very good show. And I don't give two fucks what anybody thinks. Okay, if you're still so triggered by Kathleen Kennedy's name, all right, if you don't understand humanity to the point where people don't change, they cucked Obi-Wan. No, they didn't cuck Obi-Wan. And it's not like TLJ. Everything was the opposite of TLJ. Okay, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi the way we knew him. Okay, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi the way we knew him in the end. He was, look, we're looking at a guy who suffered greatly at believing he murdered his best friend, his brother, the kid he'd raised and trained, okay? And when he realizes that Bail Organa's right, I'm going to ask you a question. Does this sound like a good story? Go back to A New Hope. Luke saying, maybe it's that Ben Kenobi, that old wizard. You know, maybe it's Ben Kenobi. Oh, lives out across the Dune Sea. Oh, that old wizard. Does that sound like Luke's really familiar with Ben? Okay. So somebody steals Luke, and Obi-Wan's got to go find him. Why would anybody steal Luke? Why would anybody care about Luke? Okay? They don't know who Luke is. Luke is a non-entity. Oh, yeah. Well, look, a lot of the guys that I love and respect a lot really hated the prequels. To the point where I say, well, why don't you watch it again? No. Okay, fine. Whatever, fine. You know, you're missing out. Okay? So it made sense that you dig in the archive, you'd find out that Bail Organa, Senator and Prefect of Alderaan, would know. It would make sense for that, for Reva, seeing a connection between Obi-Wan and Organa to use Organa's daughter against Obi-Wan, to draw him out. And the fact that Vader isn't aware that he's near his daughter. He doesn't know he has a daughter. he doesn't know he has a son, makes sense to me. Okay. It doesn't break canon. Anybody who says that, look, they just want to hate Disney Star Wars. It gets to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. I am done. You guys are nuts. I don't want to hear about it anymore. You know? And it's sad, I think. Okay, it's really, really sad that people feel that way. But using the racist fan shit, which I think was completely made up by Lucasfilm, and I think if anybody was sending Moses Ingram racist tweets, it was either a fake account run by who knows. I mean, look, I know enough about Jason Ward, and I do know enough about him, oh my God, to know that he made up an account for Kathleen Kennedy on Twitter. It is still there, okay? Hey, Joker Voice, he apparently had his ex-wife, call the cops on him and file a police report, okay? That's all I can tell you. Okay, that's it. All right. So, but the fake account on Twitter and the fact that he was kicked off of theforce.net, that he's a known Twitter troll, just tells me the guy, it wouldn't surprise me that he was the one that sent it. Okay, him or and one of his little minions that still follow him around. So the stuff with Moses Ingram, I think, was jimmied by them for I don't know whatever reason. But it set fire to Kenobi, and it fucking shut up. All right, I'm talking about Jason Ward, making Star Wars, but I'm not gonna talk about him anymore. So they use the racist shit against the fans. Doesn't work. And it ruins Kenobi, which was a fantastic show. And if you tell me it broke canon, no, it didn't. Okay, so shut the fuck up. And by the way, the people saying that, no, it didn't. If it had been Luke that went with Ben, that would have ruined the canon. Okay. All right. There are a lot of people out there that think they know what the canon is that don't. All right. They're just, and look, there are a lot of channels out there that want to make a lot of money. And some of these people, that's all they do all day. That's their job. They're on YouTube. That's it. That's it. And a group of them have become the CNN, MSNBC of the fandom. And I just, all right, I'm done. And now we've got Rings of Power doing it. If you don't like a black elf, you're a racist. No, that's not why we don't like it. And I haven't seen it. I don't have any opinion, but I'm going to explain what I've been told by people who have watched it and hate it. It is anti-Tolkien. It does not follow his vision. Okay? Okay, I can understand if you didn't agree with that. I haven't seen it. I can't say anything. But the moment the criticism came, the showrunners, the actors, all of them started complaining about racism. Okay, now let's go further, okay, since we're not talking about D23 anymore. Why is it? Well, just some other guy. There was actually a script with Luke. But what I think happened, and I think Tom Connors is right, it was too much like Mandalorian. You know, Din Djarin and Grogu. So they had to change it, and then it works, okay? And the fact that Luke never left Tatooine until he jumped on the Falcon, okay, to escape. And therefore it doesn't break continuity or canon at all. But I think because we didn't hear anything from the Acolyte at D23, And Headland made 2 casting announcements that she's trying to use minorities to get her show made. Okay. And she's hiding behind them. She's basically using them as human shields to get her show made. I mean, there you go. Okay, so this is me. I'm sitting here, I'm looking around thinking of what is going to come next. Let's go on to Indiana Jones 5. First off, my guy on the ground there said the trailer was amazing. There's one moment in the trailer, Indy's on a horse during the ticker tape parade for the astronauts. Oh, yeah, well, the show's never going to reach principal photography, okay? It's just not. She knows it, but let me finish what I'm saying. And Indy's on this horse, and the sparkly stuff, the ticker tape is falling around him, red, white, and blue bunting, and the horse rears up. And I guess everybody in the audience went, because it's gorgeous, okay? And there's another scene where Indy's on the same horse being chased through a subway tunnel, which I'm like, I can't wait to see that, because I'm going to be laughing my ass off, because the chase scenes in Indiana Jones movies are fucking spectacular, okay? Sala is back, John Rhys Davies, and he does the voiceover at the beginning of the trailer, and then Harrison Ford is kind of talking to him, and then at the end, and he's got the whip, and he's cracking, and he goes, "Get back!" You know, Harrison Ford, and all the guys in there pull guns. A typical indie gag. But just the enthusiasm I see from Harrison Ford and the emotionality, he's really, for his sake, this movie's got to be a success, okay? And I personally can't wait to see it. I'm going to be there opening day. He is just the guy, okay? And it's really interesting to me because I do have the audio, and the voiceover is great. It got me choked up. I mean, another person said when they saw the trailer they were crying at the end. So that's great. I don't think that they could have done a better job finding a director. This is the first director that Kathy Kennedy's had to defer to. Okay, because J.J. Abrams is a puss, and Rian Johnson is her toe sucker. Okay, so there you go. All right. So this is, Indy 5 is going to be great, and she just kind of faded into the background until Phoebe Waller-Bridge said something, and she did step on her toes. But I want to tell you guys one more thing before I go. Yesterday they were doing the D23 park stuff, and you'd expect Kathy Kennedy to introduce new attractions, new characters to Galaxy's Edge, right? Oh yeah, you're right, just some other guy. All right, you expect Kennedy to do that. It wasn't Kennedy, it was Favreau. Favreau introduced Din Djarin and Grogu as coming to Disneyland. Okay, so you guys are going to be able to see The Mandalorian. Now, take this with a grain of salt, but considering that, in my opinion, Kennedy's on her way out the door, and I expect we hear an announcement and a hard date for her departure, probably at the end of October, or maybe between now and then. Look, this is the time of year, and if you notice your email, if you go and subscribe to Deadline Hollywood Variety, you're going to see executives leaving, coming and going. And this is when it all happens, because all the companies are in their final quarter, and a lot of shuffling, layoffs, etc. happen at this time. So I would expect to hear something, because Indiana Jones 5 really isn't that far away from it hitting the theaters. Less than a year now, okay? And Steven Spielberg's excited for it. Harrison Ford said the movie's going to kick you in the ass. Well, he said it kicked him in the ass. And Boyd Holbrook said it's going to kick you in the ass. So I can't wait to see it. I really can. And it looks to me that the trailer didn't feature Phoebe Waller-Bridge at all. Look, they gave her a lot yesterday, but I think they know that the casting of her as a character in this movie was met with, okay, so, well, Goldman Sachs is in entertainment, their investment, but it wouldn't surprise me that they are. I mean, look, whether the Democrats want to admit it or not, we are in a recession. 2 quarters of negative growth are a recession, okay? The American economy is contracting, all right? So a lot of these companies are going to, but when the layoffs happen at Lucasfilm, it's going to be Kennedy as she leaves, and the new person starts to assume the duties of studio head, where he brings in his own people, first off. I think the 2 people you're going to see stay are Mohsen Gupta and Dave Filoni, of course. But Carrie Beck may or may not stay. Michelle Redwine will probably go. A lot of these people who, and like the story group, like Rain Roberts, okay, who got hired because she has fabulous black women braids. Okay, that's the only reason why, probably. You know, every one of those women in that picture that Kennedy had taken at their house, of all those bitches, that just, where's the sausage? You know, I mean, that would absolutely, I walking into a room and seeing all those cackling hens would freeze my blood. Okay, I'd be like, I gotta go. This is gross. No, I can't. And the reason why is because I don't like most women. Okay, I don't. I've got no time for inane gossip or bullshit conversations about why doesn't he like me? You know, it's like, did you sleep with him? Yeah, that's why he doesn't like you anymore. You know? It's just, it's hard for me because I don't like it. I think you'll see a lot of those women go, okay? You'll see the story group probably go. And I think that, I'm going to say this, I think that the publishing side is going to get decimated, okay? I think that Disney itself, because that's where Disney is involved, because they're the ones that have to make the deal with Del Rey Books, okay? And I think that I think you're going to see people at Disney like Jennifer Heddle, this 300-pound ginger chick who screamed on Twitter about how much she hates Luke Skywalker and how she thought that Leia should have punched him in the face. You know, so anyway, I think she'll go too, but I gotta go because Daddy's home and the dog is gonna freak out, so so anyway, I just wanted to go live, check out my 2 uploads of earlier today, and I'll talk to you guys later. See you around the